Hey everyone, Mike here. What we're going to do, hopefully I can make this a quick video, but we're going to make these micro streamers here. I'm going to be using these. I might use them to chase bluegill. They're that small at a lake that I fish in later this late spring, early summer, and I'll use these to catch those. But the biggest reason is, well, number one, I have a, I'm not going to make it a habit, but I'm making a 2-weight glass rod. It's a 6-foot, I don't think it's a 6'6", it's a 6-foot glass rod, and it's a gorgeous rod. I got it at Hook and Hackle, and at a fly show. I bought it from them at a fly show down in Cincinnati. But anyways, and that's not a paid advertisement or anything. It's just where I got it from. I don't even think they have any more of them, or I might have contacted them for possibly a few more blanks, because I've already got a few people that's wanting one themselves. Don't want to get into building rods and selling them, quite honestly, but I'll build them for myself. Anyway, here we go. The this micro minnow here is pretty awesome. It's super easy to tie, and I'm tying it with my brush table that I developed and made for a vise, and this attaches to if the post on your vise is 3/8 of an inch in diameter, this brush maker will fit it. It may not fit the ones that are hinged in, on the vise to where you can tilt the vise for whatever reason. And I'm not sure what brands have them like that, but there are brands out there. But anyway, this brush table is pretty amazing, and it's not because I made it, but it just is. It makes building brushes with the longer fibers on your vise very convenient. I mean, it doesn't get any more convenient than this, and I'm going to show you how. So we'll take this one out, and I'll get another hook. Oh, by the way, I'm using these Gamakatsu B10S size 12 hooks, which quite honestly is a little bit on the small side for me. I typically use a Gamakatsu shiner hook in sizes, I believe, 8 down to 2, and those hooks, even at the size 8, they have such a huge gap in them, and they make really good leading bodies of streamers that are articulated in the back. Or you can, if you use the smaller shiner hook, you can put it in the back. If you want the hook set to be in the front, you can use the bigger one, like a 2/0 or a size 2, not a 2/0. They do make them that big, but I don't go that big. And it makes it kind of nice, because man, those things, the gap on those hooks are phenomenal, and the wire is a really good size wire too. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and put this hook in the vise. All right. And I'm going to use my white thread right there. That's a 3/0 thread I get from Orvis. It's a braided thread. It's not flat, and it may help. It may help on this particular fly to because it's so small, to use like an 8/0 thread or one of those other really thin threads to keep the amount of turns down on your thread. Anyway, I'm going to take this right here. This is bonnie cord that's been harvested from this right here. That's a rope of bonnie cord, and then I harvest that off of it, and then I brush that into this stuff right here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim that up in the front there a little bit. Right there. And actually that is going to be a bit much. These are big scissors, but man, they cut so nice on these kinds of materials. This will just be a little bit more manageable. I'm going to cut this down, the amount of material that I'm going to be putting on the actual hook. And then this stuff does a really good job of tapering back, as you can see there. Now I'm going to bring my thread to the front a little bit, because what I want to do is I'm going to go a little about 1.5 times the length of the hook for the tail. Alright, and I want to tie that up towards the front and capture the material, and then just try and pull it up so that it's on top, and then I'm going to take the tailing material and pull up on it, and that way, pulling up and as you tie back, that will keep that material on top where you want it. And then I'll take the excess and then grab my scissors and at an angle like so. See if we can, at an angle like so, probably about 30 degrees, cut like that, and then that makes a really nice ramp there where you can bring your thread on down lightly. And now all you need to do is bring your table up, and let's see, bring your table up, and what you're going to want to do with the table is you're going to want to have a little bit of an angle to the shank of the hook. Alright, and then bring the thread up over top of the table, just like that, and then we're going to take our material, and I'm going to cut about, let's see, I'm going to cut about 1.5 inches of this material. Right across there, just like that. Alright, 1.5 inches. And cut it, and then do about another 1.5 inches, and you can use this as your gauge if you actually measured it. And cut another 1.5 inches. Alright, and I'll probably do a third one. Add another 1.5 inches. Now what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to spread this material out kind of as thin as I can, because the thinner it is, the more material you can lay down as you wrap forward. More material or less material? It's probably less. I should have said less material, because if you put too much on it, this thing will bunch up on you, and you end up with a rope, and you don't want a rope when you wrap this thing together. Alright, so we're going to take this right here, which is a frother, and grab the material, or grab your thread, let it hang, bring the thread over the top, and then lock it in like that. And then I'm going to take my frother, and I'm going to use my finger here on the frother to keep it from turning when I turn it on. I'm using my finger as a clutch, and then that way I can let it spin up, okay, as I'm pulling, like so. And now I can brush that out. Okay, and then I'm going to take, I've got a pair of 4-inch hemostats, and I use those as my hackle pliers. And now I can take my brush table and swing it down and out of the way, so I've got plenty of room. And then I'm going to wrap the thread back to push the material down, because the material is going to lay down to get the brush closer to the shank of the hook. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is kind of wet my fingers here a little bit and pull this material back. Now polyolefin, I believe it's called. This is a synthetic material. This bonding cord is a synthetic material, and the polyolefin is probably, out of the synthetic materials, has the most floating properties. So, I mean, it probably wouldn't hurt. I think it's still going to be okay, because I fish typically with this fly. It's going to be in shallow water in the spring, where the smallmouth are going to be coming up to feed on the baby minnows that are being born and feeding the smallmouth. As you put this material down, you want to try and brush it as much as possible. Grab it, pull it back, and if it looks like it's bunching up again, you might have to do it on each wrap, which isn't going to hurt anything. Just make sure that you keep that from folding over top of itself. And keep brushing it out. Let's go ahead and capture that cord there, and we'll release our brush, and I'm going to use this tag here to pull back, to kind of pull the material off of that eye if I've crowded it any. Okay, and then that way I got room to build the head of the fly. You might want to try and keep that, you want to keep this tight up against there. Okay, there we go. And then we'll brush this out, and we'll go down and cut the brush out all the way right in there. Now you can hang on to that or throw it away. I just threw it away. One of the things I kind of like about this brush machine is that even though you're throwing little pieces away, I think you waste a lot less using this table than some of the other ones. Now that's kind of thick right there, but I'm going to show you how you thin that down, because this stuff here trims up just like deer hair or any other hair you might use to build bodies on streamers. So let's go ahead and put a couple of whip finishes on this, just like that, and brush it out again. Be as aggressive as you want to with this stuff. Now we got some stragglers there, so I'll go ahead and kind of clean those up with the scissors as much as possible, and then flame it to give it a nice finish there on the head. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is grab the fly by the eye of the hook with my hemostats and squeeze it down nice and tight, grab it, and now what I'm going to want to do is try and keep the tail, but pull the brush part of the fly back, and keep the length of your tail. You're going to want that to get the taper that we're going to be looking for here. So you just pull it out and you try and get it even all the way around, okay? Just like that. Let's see if we can get another view here. Okay, so there's the fly there, and then the material that we're going to trim up, and then I use these scissors here. These are they're bent scissors, curved scissors. I'll grab the material, the fly, and then with the curved scissors, I don't have to, tilt. I can actually grab the angle that I want, and then just cut the material with the taper of the bend of the scissors. So just like that, and that way you're not cutting any of this tail here when we put it back there. And grab it and just like that. And so we'll go ahead and put this back on the hook. And we could put eyes on this, but I'm going to try and, for the length of the video, it's pretty much just being able to make this, get this taper on this micro size streamer. There we go. And it's ready to go. If you wanted to throw some eyes on there, you could do that, and you'd have yourself a nice little bait fish to go chasing some smallmouth this spring. And believe me, the smallmouth, they like chasing these babies in the spring because they got more energy chasing food to get themselves ready for chasing the bigger bait fish in the summer. Now, what I'll do is, as the summer goes on, I will change the size of my fly, because the size of the bait fish are going to be changing through the summer. They get larger and larger. In fact, my creek has a pretty good population of shad that come up from the river. I don't think they're in there all the time because I don't usually see them until about fall. So I'm pretty sure they come upstream for whatever reason. I don't know if they're you can tell me in the comments if they do if they spawn in the fall or what. But that's when I see the shad mostly, and that is a nice little minnow. I mean, all it is just a tuft of hair. And you might ask me if that cankalon will work for this particular fly, and I would I'm going to say no. Not as well as this material here. In fact, I might have just a little bit much on this fly in this video, and so what you're going to want to do is experiment yourself and try, because I might be putting way too much material down. The less you put down, the better the fly is going to turn out. You don't want to go less is more, because that just makes my head explode. Less is never more. Less may be more better, but less is not just more. So just go with less, because you'll get a better profile on your fly, and I think you'll be happy. But it's an experimental thing, and one of the things that helps to make these is this is my table that I designed, and you can get these off of my website, which has a link to my Etsy store. There's a good price on them. There's free delivery, and I've sold a number of them, and everybody just absolutely loves them. Mostly for the convenience. You're done with your fly, you just swing it down and out of the way, and you're back to business. And this would be a really good setup for tying game changers, because what you can do is you can tie the smaller part here, right? Tie the smaller part, pull it off, put your shank in there, and use a little longer materials. Take the shank out, put another shank in, or out of the vise, then put another shank in that shank, and then just keep building it up until you have your game changer as long as you want. And then at each step, you can change the length of the fibers in the progression of the fly that you're making. It's just an awesome system. I mean, you can do really well. I mean, you're going to make mistakes, and I don't know, you might even get frustrated, but I don't think so. This here makes making brushes really easy. That's really about all I've got. I'm sorry for rambling here, but sometimes it's necessary just so you can get the information that you need. I'm going to take that out and catch me some nice smallmouth this spring. Till the next video, this is Mike. Hey, by the way, please consider subscribing. Hit that like button, and if you got any questions, ask me down there in the comments. Till the next video, we'll catch you later.